All right, so last month, this news outlet traveled to Spartanburg, South Carolina for a hearing in the boat crash case. This, of course, is the high-profile wrongful death action that is tied to a 2019 boat crash involving the late Paul Murdaugh. On the early morning of February 24, 2019, Paul Murdaugh, while under the influence of alcohol, allegedly crashed a boat belonging to his father, Alec Murdaugh, into a piling on the Archers Creek Bridge in Beaufort County, South Carolina. As a result of that crash, 19-year-old Mallory Beach was killed. Her body was thrown from the boat, was found by fishermen about a week later. Now, this action is what really propelled the Murdaughs onto the statewide stage, folks. It was the incident that really brought all of the scrutiny down to bear on this family. And in fact, 3 days before a scheduled hearing in this case, Alec Murdaugh is accused of killing Paul Murdaugh and his wife 3 days before he was scheduled to appear in court to provide a voluminous amount of financial information tied to the case. Now, when this news outlet went to Spartanburg last month, we focused on an aspect of the story that was pretty much glossed over by the mainstream media, which is whether or not the judge in this case would split the two defendants. Now, if you followed this case at all, you know it's not just one side versus the other. It's one side versus multiple sides, particularly the Murdaugh family. But then there are other co-defendants, most notably a gentleman by the name of Greg Parker. Well, let me back that up. A person by the name of Greg Parker, a convenience store mogul from Savannah, Georgia, and his corporate defendant is a party to this suit as well. But the lawsuit has exploded into a battle between the defendants, with Parker and his companies engaging in an outright jihad in an effort to further demonize the Murdaugh family, which, by the way, I didn't know that was possible, but anyway, Parker's done his best to do that. But the judge in this case decided late last month that he was, in fact, going to split the defendants in this case. In other words, create two trials. One where Mallory Beach's family pursues a judgment against the Murdaughs, and a second trial in which they pursue a judgment against Parker and the corporate defendants. Now, the second trial would be held first because Murdaugh is currently facing the murder charges from that aforementioned double homicide. Now, Mark Tinsley is the attorney for Mallory Beach's family. He has been pushing for this case to stay consolidated. Attorney Tinsley tells me he does not want the Beach family to have to endure two different wrongful death trials. And he filed a motion today asking Judge Hall to reconsider this decision to split the defendants. And I wanted to quote briefly from that motion. There was some fireworks fired, some calling out the judge pretty directly here. In fact, Attorney Tinsley told Judge Hall that he was wrong on the issue of joint and several liability, which is one of the key legal provisions at the heart of this case. But more importantly, he fired back at the Parker's defendants for their claim that all the publicity with the Murdaughs has made it impossible for them to get a fair trial. Here's what he had to say. The court should not find that the notoriety surrounding the Murdaugh defendants creates prejudice to Parker's that supports severance of the claims. That Parker's is tethered to the Murdaughs is a situation of their own making by illegally selling alcohol to an underage Paul Murdaugh. Parker's has no one to blame but itself for the situation in which it finds itself. Now, in his order, Tinsley went on to say that two trials, as opposed to one, would, and I quote, create an unfathomable and unnecessary emotional burden that will be endured by the Beach family, who happen to be the only victims in this saga. And he's got that right. Now, what do we make of this? Well, we covered this issue again exclusively back in August. We were the only ones at that hearing that delved into this issue. And I want to point out that there are some good points raised by Greg Parker. This guy has become sort of a despicable character in this drama by the way that he's conducted himself and the way that he has gone after both the Beach family and, frankly, the Murdaugh defendants. Just conduct that is reprehensible. And so he's very difficult, a difficult person to sympathize with. He's also gone out, he's hired some of the most powerful politicians in South Carolina as his attorneys and their family members too. Just an overt effort to pressure the judiciary, which again in South Carolina is appointed by those politicians. So again, there's very little to like about Greg Parker. The man is contemptible in every sense of the word. However, he has a point as it relates to these issues of liability. Folks, accidents happen. tragedies occur. When they occur, we need to fairly assign blame and determine compensation. Again, that process should be simple. It should be based on fairness, and South Carolina's system currently does not provide that. So again, as this news outlet continues to cover the Murdaugh criminal drama and the Murdaugh civil drama, count on us to also dig into the issues underlying those cases and bring you the latest on those issues as well.